And here's the other thing I want you to think about. To bring this back to the Mets, because we always have to. And there's some kind of there's a horn or something out there. It almost sounds like a ship is about to dock, and I'm nowhere near the ocean. It has gone away.
Come on, you know you're on the pier again.
Well, what I was going to say is this.
Those sailors coming in, furlough.
For many years, the Mets had bad ownership. And the billionaire owner put his son in charge of the team. And it created all the problems that happen when a billionaire puts a child with no actual business experience and no personal skills and thinks he's a genius, puts him in charge. The things that happen. They also ran out of money because so many of the things they did were funded on bullshit money because of Bernie Madoff, giving them fantasy money they never actually earned. That's how they financed their network, deferred contracts like Bobby Bonilla, their stadium, everything. Eventually, they had to sell, and they had a minority shareholder, Steve Cohen, the present owner of the Mets, because it ended up happening. He said he was willing to do it, one of the richest guys in the United States, and he's a Mets fan. They tried to structure a deal where he could buy the team. However, he had to agree that I think for like the next 8 years, it would be run by Jeff Wilpon, the son. And eventually he backed out. He said, no fucking way. There's no way I'm doing this. It may not have been 8 years. It may have been a few years less. But the point was, you get all this, except you have to keep this person. It didn't work out. Eventually he ended up buying the team, outbid the awful group led by A-Rod and J-Lo. Do you think Vince would try to look for a buyer that would put him in charge?
You know, if he was younger, I think Vince still has to be somewhat realistic down deep in there somewhere. If he was younger, I think that would almost be a certainty. But at this point now, does he just want the final, I'm going to wipe it in the face of the board and everybody told me to retire. I'm going to come back. Stock's going to shoot up through the roof. We're going to get this thing sold. Somebody's going to hand me $5 billion. And then boom, and I'm on to my next thing. I don't know at this point if he would say I've got to be, that would be a sticking point on the deal. I got to be in charge.
He had several months at home to come up with the next thing, and his decision was, I want to go back and take it over.
Well, he hadn't finished this thing yet. That's the question. At him.
That's the question. Do you think he just wants to be the person to sell it because he's the person that built it, or do you think he wants to make sure it's in his hands, whether he owns it or whether someone else owns it?
I don't know. I'll say right now, he wants the big check and he wants to be responsible for the sale and he wants to take the glory at this point. I think he may realize that it's coming to an end one way or the other and he can, because here's the thing, would Vince rather run the company for another 5 years and only get $2 billion for it then, or would he rather get $5 or $6 billion now? It's the total on the tote board for Vince. He would consider that a bigger win than if he ran it longer and got less. He really would. He would consider he did a better job. So it wouldn't be like I failed. It'd be like I'm doing a better job by doing this now. It's the conditions of the world and the rights fees and everything. Now's the time.
Hey, listen, months ago when he went home, you and I talked about it because you know him. You've been in his home. What is he doing? What's he going to do all day other than
figuring this out, apparently?
That's it. He went home and obsessed over the business that he didn't want to let go of in the first place. That he said he wants to work on until he dies, until they forced him out, or until they convinced him to leave. Now he's back. I don't think he's coming back like, okay, I'm going to end it on my terms, and then I'm going to go back to all my wonderful hobbies. I'm going to take up pickleball. None of this is going to happen.
He's going to get Lionel Trains or Linzell Trains to come over and set him up a train system in his living room.
That's the thing. Unless you could tell me what you could see him doing to occupy his time for the rest of his years on this planet, I have a tough time thinking he's coming back just to sell it. He's coming back to sell it to his own, not to his own owner, but to someone he wants to be the owner of it, I would think.
Well, we got to stay tuned for further updates.